Hello, everyone, and welcome back into Yelling from the Couch. I'm Brent Humphreys, joined today by Gordon Chatterton. Gordon, last night we got on here and we made our picks for the NFL. Today we'll touch on a little NFL, but it's mainly college football. And how you doing, man? You doing all right this morning?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I got some sleep, so that's always good. Last week was a great weekend for me, not for you so much. Apologies. We kind of knew it was going to go like that because the week that Georgia had before. Overall, for me, great week. My pro team didn't lose or tie. Once again, I got to say that because I have to say that. But my college team absolutely rocked the Gophers.
Yeah, and we kind of both seen that coming. We predicted that last week on the show that Ohio State would win. They would cover. You said sink the boat when I said there ain't gonna be no rowing of the boat this week for Minnesota, and you text me back and said sink the boat. So yeah, they sank the boat for them there. But good week for Ohio State and Green Bay. They didn't play, so I mean, nothing bad there. You just sat back and enjoyed football. It must have been nice. But my football weekend not good at all for either one.
I felt bad. Well, we were sitting there talking during the Kentucky game, and we both decided that at a certain point, we're done. It's time to watch something else. And the Bengals, I just felt horrible because I was working, of course, but I quit game casting after a while. I said, this is just terrible.
28-3 going into the fourth quarter, and they kind of started to do some offense after that. Too little, too late. But Kentucky just got destroyed. And I mean, well, let's go ahead and get into the games last week while we're at it here. And let's go ahead and let's start off negative, I guess. Let's go for it. Why not? Kentucky went to Georgia and they fell 30. Georgia the week before lost to Alabama. Kentucky goes down there and they just get beat down bad. It wasn't even close at all. It was 14-0 before the end of the first quarter. Then Kentucky comes back in the second quarter and they get a touchdown pass from Cutter Boley to Josh Caddis. And that brought them within 7. You're like, okay, maybe something. And then Georgia comes right back down, scores a touchdown for the half, 20. And Kentucky's offense just couldn't get anything going at all. They fumble the ball on their opening possession in the third quarter. And Georgia comes right back down, scores again, makes it 28-7. And then in the fourth quarter, 35-7. I said the score wrong because I turned it off. It was 35-7. But Cutter Boley did find Kendrick Law in the fourth quarter with a minute something left to make it 35-14.
Yeah, well, that was a garbage time touchdown. The only problem is that they couldn't stop Little John. Little John Stockton had 2 touchdowns rushing and a touchdown passing. He didn't have an impressive amount of yards, but he didn't need to have them because they could run the ball. The offensive line is. Are we talking about? They still talk about building the big blue wall.
I'd mentioned last week they need to build a wall at Lexington, and they haven't yet.
They were still talking about that.
They need to build a wall. They need to build a whole bunch of things over there now. But you mentioned Little John Stockton, Gunner Stockton. He's 15-23, 196 yards, a touchdown. He threw a pick, but he had 48 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns on 6 carries. So he ran the ball 8 yards per carry for the quarterback. You got to be better than that on defense.
Oh, God. Oh, yes. Oh, my Lord. Whenever he scored the first one, he did it so easy. I was like, this is coming close to being embarrassing of how I don't think he was touched on that first one, was it?
I don't believe he was. I mean, it's poor. It's piss poor out there effort from Kentucky's defense the other day.
Oh, because I was sitting there looking at it, man. Boley had 225 yards passing. Yes, one touchdown was garbage time, but one of them wasn't. One of them was actually in the heart of the game. He had an interception and he had a fumble.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
No.
So.
Well, and then, Kendrick Law had 6 catches for 64 yards and a touchdown. Like you said, garbage time touchdown right there. He was the first touchdown for a Kentucky wide receiver for the season.
That's not a good stat at all.
No, it is definitely not. It's pretty bad right there. But, man, let's see. I was looking at it here. Let me find it again. The rushing for them was not good. Kentucky's rushing yards.
No, I think I got down here. They had I think they had 50 as a team, something like that. Seth had 44 of them.
Yeah. Cutter Boley had 5. Kendrick Law had 3. So 52 yards between all of them. Not going to get it done in the SEC. You've got to be able to run the ball, especially when your strength is running the ball.
Yeah. If your strength is running and you can't do that, It's going to be a long day.
And Kirby Smart, he, once again, no surprise. Kentucky usually plays Georgia pretty close. They weren't close at all this time. Kirby coming off of a loss, wanted to prove a point. He proved a point. He outcoached Mark Stoops in every single way. People can say, well, Mark Stoops isn't getting the players because of NIL. I call hogwash on that. Kentucky gets just about as much money as anybody else in the SEC does for NIL. Right now, it's the Wild West. You can spend whatever you want on NIL, and they're going out and they're getting players. They're paying players, so it's not that at all. He should be better with the talent he's got right now. Now, they spent money on a quarterback. You miss on the quarterback like they did with the guys Calzada, you're going to struggle like this. So you bring in Cutter Boley. I didn't think Boley looked too bad. I mean, he threw some passes, and the wide receivers weren't helping him out in some of them. I mean, he wasn't great by no means, trust me. But he's not horrible, as some people like to say out here. Some people say he's not an SEC quarterback. He may not be. You got to give him time to develop a little bit, I believe. Kirby out-coached Mark Stoops from first quarter to the end of the game like that. It's plain and simple.
I think the person that Kentucky's not utilizing the most and really not getting anything out of him is probably, since Barry and Brown's gone, I think that the best receiver on the team is Ja'Cory Macklin, and they're not hardly using him at all.
No, they didn't use Macklin at all last season until the end of the season, and he really stepped up, and he looked like, okay, this is going to be wide receiver number one. And you're right, man, they're not getting the ball to him at all.
And what I watched that one game, not last week, but the week before, it didn't even look like they were trying last game they played. They weren't even trying to get him the ball.
Yeah, and at the end of the fourth quarter, or into the fourth quarter, Kentucky started throwing the ball to Cam Miller, freshman. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'd never heard of Cam Miller. He hadn't got any playing time until Saturday, and he was kind of a bright spot there. Maybe he'll step up and he'll get a little bit more playing time, but I'm with you, man. You've got to throw the ball a little bit more to Macklin. I mean, he's a good wide receiver out there, and he's just not getting the opportunities.
And he's got the pedigree, too.
He does, yeah. Got the little brother of Jeremy Macklin. So, yeah. I mean, he's got the talent. Just you got to utilize it.
Oh, yeah.
Another big key point for this game is kind of off the field stuff here. And there was a report last week that Mark Stoops went to Kentucky Athletics Director Mitch Barnhart and said that he wanted to negotiate a buyout. Mark Stoops, after the game, said that there was zero chance that he's walking away, and he denied those rumors. So there's a little bit of controversy going on in Lexington with that. I personally think that thank you, Mark Stoops, for all the time you give Kentucky, but I think it's time to shake his hand and let him walk. Start over, try something else. It's not working anymore.
Yeah, bid him farewell and good tidings on his future adventures.
Yeah. I think that's what you got to do at this point in time, because Kentucky right now is number 16 in the SEC out of 16. It's time to start over.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's Kentucky there. Georgia, they're looking like Georgia once again. Just they just can't beat Bama. So, but they beat Kentucky, and that's about all I've got to say about that. Kentucky's off this week, so we don't have to sit here and predict another Kentucky loss. And then next week they get Texas, coming off of the Red River rivalry that we'll talk about later. Boy, that's a hard one to say. I love when I say Red River rivalry like that, and it just comes out like that. So, but next, man, let's go ahead and let's talk about them here. Let's talk about your Ohio State Buckeyes last week, and they went to Minnesota, and they got a big win over Minnesota. Gordon, what was your thoughts on Ohio State's win last week over the Golden Gophers?
Well, my thoughts are going to start off like this. They put about 6 shotgun slugs in the bottom of that boat because it went down quick. Defense, once again, outstanding. Sayin, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. Jackson, 67 yards and a touchdown. Not his normal game, but they wasn't running the ball. They was having so much success throwing, they wasn't even worried about running the ball. Big play taped, 183 yards and a touchdown. He had 9 catches, 183 yards and a touchdown. That's a good per reception clip there. Mm-hmm. Jeremiah Smith had 7 for 67, but he had 2 touchdowns. They held Minnesota to 162 total yards, rushing and passing. Lindsey had 94 yards passing, and as a team, they had 68 yards rushing. As a team.
That's crazy numbers.
Yeah. And once again, they tried to get, when you watch it, they tried to, in the red zone, they went for it on 4th down, and they got plausibly denied very quickly. They actually lost yards.
Yeah. once again, I mean, just saying, looked really good this week. 23 of 27, 326 yards, 3 touchdowns. So he got the ball to Cornell Tate. Have a game, son. 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown. 5 of his catches were the first play of Buckeye Drive. So they were looking for him early and often, and they found him early and often. 7 of the catches were in the first half. He had 163 yards at the half, and he just kept beating his guy every time. Had a 44-yard score, and this was the Cornell Tate game for sure. And then Jeremiah Smith over there, Mr. Reliable, still their number one guy, but he didn't have a problem stepping aside and let Tate take over, and Tate did take over. Last week we had mentioned Minnesota also had a freshman quarterback, Drake Lindsey. His night was not so great. 15-26, 94 yards. He had most of those yards on the first drive. He had 35 yards that were after the first drive, and he got sacked 4 times the other night.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, he found out what a big college program defense looks like. He saw up close and personal.
Yeah, he sure did. And 42-3 was the final. They held Minnesota under their average for the season, under Ohio State's average given up for the season. They were like 5.5, so they were under on that one. So that just goes down even more. Like silliness, man, just silliness.
Yeah, that when Matt Patricia signed, I was worried just a little bit that he was going to be overwhelmed because college has such a wider scheme and what they're allowed to do, defensively. Like in the NFL, you can't face guard, but in college you can. And it doesn't, I guess his philosophy is, well, if I don't let you get the ball off in time, you can't make an accurate throw anyway, so that doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to run into a team that's going to be able to move the ball and possibly, score in the red zone like no one has yet. No one scored a touchdown. I think we've only given up, it's all been field goals that's been in the red zone. We haven't given up a touchdown. It's going to happen. We're going to get pushed. And I hope his resolve is the same as it has been so far. Tighten down, clamp down, just go after him. Because we got the corners to play it. Igbenogsen's been a nice surprise. He hasn't gotten so many penalties called on him this year. I think he had the most pass interference penalties in major college football last year.
Cleaning it up now this year, but they outgained him 470-62. They were 7 of 10 on third down. Minnesota was 1 for 11. So, man, just dominating defense once again. We talk about it. Seems like every week on here how dominating Ohio State's defense and smothering they are. And, man, they just prove it week after week. Minnesota's a decent team, we thought, but they're nowhere near Ohio State's level.
Yeah, as one of my favorite wrestlers says, it's a female, there are levels to this. There's levels to being good.
Yeah, and they're not on that level. Oh, man, so Ohio State gets a big win. Kentucky lost, so that's kind of our recap of our teams last week, but we'll talk a little bit more about a few more games that happened last week and what is going on with Penn State.
I can't even begin to tell you. I mean, I've heard of people, a big win causes, maybe come in lackluster. They came in on a bad note and just made it worse. They sleptwalked through the first part of that game until it was no longer in question anymore. That was, if you was to look up atrocious in the dictionary, that game would probably pop up because that was horrible.
Very bad. Neuheisel's kid comes out here, takes over the playbook, puts up 42 on Penn State with an offense that had done nothing all year, had got beaten down. And then they put up 42 on Penn State last Saturday.
I think one of their losses was to a mid to lower ranked Mountain West Conference team.
I think so. They have not looked good all season long. We talked about how Tennessee's won that battle or won that trade between Aguilar and Nico. We'll just say Nico because, that last name, whatever. But, man, last Saturday, it looked like, what they thought they were going to get with Nico. But is that more of a thing on UCLA or Penn State? I don't know. Deshaun Foster was not good at all as a coach.
No.
So maybe it was just the coaching, but maybe it is the Penn State thing. I don't know because, I know you've kind of got a little bit of ties to Penn State, and I've kind of poked at Penn State a little bit, and James Franklin's, kind of overrated. But maybe it is the Penn State.
Yeah. I can't disagree very much with that.
Yeah, I'm just checking right now. UCLA, they play Michigan State Saturday, so we'll see if that changes anything for them at all. Their games, they lost to Northwestern. New Mexico beat them 35-10 at UCLA.
Okay, that's not a bottom. They're actually kind of high on the Mountain West. So
But UNLV.
okay, that's more of a mid. That's the mid one.
And then Utah beat them 43-10. So not much offense in any of those games until Penn State rolls into town, and they're like, you know what? Change things up. Newhousel's kid looks like a kid out there. I mean, the guy looked 12 years old. They're picking him up, carrying him off the field. His blonde hair is just flowing around everywhere, and it's a wild scene. But Penn State, man, I don't think Penn State fans are too happy right now with James Franklin, are they, Gordon?
No, they're not. And I'm married to one. Not happy at all. When they picked him up, carried him off, it's almost like they was about to hand him a sippy cup of chocolate milk. I mean, there's some guys on that team I think are older than he is.
It seems like it, doesn't it? It sure seems like it.
Maybe not, but he looks
like it.
But to be fair, some of them guys are really big too. So him looking like a little kid probably ain't saying much. I may look like a little kid standing next to one of them.
Yeah. But big upset last week in college football. Penn State playoff hopes are dashed, done for. Don't even talk about them. We talk about they can't win the big one. They can't even beat a small team. I mean, not a small team, but not a power right now. They can't even beat them. So they're done for. No offense. So that'll lead us now into our next segment, Gordon, and that is Yell or No Yell. We don't have the audio effects yet. Sorry. We'll get back to them, but Yell or No Yell, Gordon, I'll let you go ahead and you start with yours. You've got 4 topics. I've got 3, so go ahead and give them to me.
Okay, we just talked about one. I was trying to hold off because it was a Yell or No Yell topic. College football. I got 2 college and 2 pros. First one, Mr. Franklin message has gone quiet.
Yell. I'm agreeing with you here. Franklin, I think it's about time. I think Penn State's going to make a change. I got a coach they can hire if they want right now. And that is Mark Stoops from Kentucky football. They can bring him, take him with them, and he can go over there and they can live happily ever after. But yeah, I think Franklin's time's over with, man. He hasn't got it done. He never can win the big one. Saturday just proved that, it's over with for him.
So he brought in Jim Knowles to try to help out because Knowles was part of the championship defense last year. It's not quite working out for him.
Not working out at all for him.
What I actually saw was what I've seen so far is what the problem was whenever he first started at Ohio State. There's a lot of games where I'm not saying it won't get better because as he starts realizing, noticing his players, he does do better play calls, but as of right now, Jim Knowles ain't helping him at all.
No, he certainly isn't helping him at all. But I think a lot of it's still got to do with the head guy right there. He's ultimately responsible. They go, seems like 10-2, 9-3 every year. If Penn State fans are wanting more, they're going to get restless with him.
Well, it's always said it all starts at the top.
Yep, he's responsible for it all. But yeah, so I'm with you with that one. So my first one that I'm going to go with is Texas lost last week to Florida, and everybody is piling on the Arch Manning, hate wagon here. And I'm going to say that Arch Manning isn't as bad as everybody's saying he is.
I'm going to yell with you on that one. He's not as bad as people are saying. Their 2 losses was week 1 against that defense. It's been showing that they'll do that to a lot of people. Okay, now, and playing in the swamp, I guess, is a hard place to play. You guys play you've watched it more than what I've watched. You've got to be a really good team to come away with the win there. I think most of their issue is he's not going to Arch Manning's strengths. He's still using Quinn Ewers' playbook. You got to cut some of them pages out because that's not what Arch Manning does well. Throwing on the run, scrambling, that's not what he does well. He could run, but, scramble to throw, that's not his strong suit. He learned how to throw from Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. They're more stationary, plant your foot and then throw, not throw and run. That's what Quinn Ewers' strength was. You have to design a game plan that tailors to him.
Yeah, you have to, definitely. But last week, you go down to the swamp. Swamp's a tough place to play. And Arch threw 2 picks, but one of those picks weren't his fault at all. And then also the running game. they cannot get a running game going at all for Texas. And we all know that if you can't get a running game going, you're just setting up for failure because they know what you're going to do. When Arch Manning's the leading rusher for the team last week, that's not a good sign. He threw 2 touchdowns last week, but also the defense has let him down this year. He's kind of got the same issue, and it's going to be weird to say because Texas was the number 1 team in the land to begin with. But it's kind of like the same issue that Kentucky's got right now, except for he's got some receivers, and Kentucky's got some running backs. But the offensive line isn't helping him out at all, and that defense isn't really helping him out much either. They played well the first week of the season, but since then, they haven't played that great. And last week, giving up 29 to Florida in the Swamp. The Swamp's a tough place to play at nighttime. You know, you got Tom Petty playing Won't Back Down in between the third and the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I think that Arch just, like you said, you got to design the playbook to him, cater to him a little bit more and not to what you were doing with Quinn Ewers for sure. But, yeah, I think that Arch isn't as bad. Everybody's piling on him a whole lot right now. And I don't think he's as bad. He's not like Paul Feinbaum said, and he's the Heisman Trophy winner. Give it to him right now. That's definitely not the case. But he also isn't, a D2 quarterback. He's a D1 quarterback, but he's not as bad as everybody thinks.
No, I think he's pretty good. I mean, if he would have went to another system that wasn't Texas, to someone who wasn't just steadfast at staying in one certain type of play calling, I think he'd be doing a lot better.
Maybe it's Sark. Maybe that's the problem out there. I don't know. Gordon, your next topic for Yell or No Yell.
Going to stay in college football since that is our topic. I mean, I am going to NFL.
Yes.
Chapel Bill needs another year. This one needs to be considered a mulligan.
It's pretty ugly down there in Chapel Bill right now. Things aren't looking good. There were discussions about a buyout, and then I guess they squashed those rumors not too long after that. Seems like kind of like chaos over there on that sideline. I'm going to yell with you. I feel like you got to give the guy another year. You can't. I mean, he's the greatest NFL coach of all time. You got to give him a shot in college to do something. I know it's different, but for a guy who ran the New England Patriots like the military, and for him to be running UNC like he is now, where it's just like whatever. It's not as buttoned up right now. It seems in North Carolina as it was with the Patriots. But yeah, I'll yell with you. He deserves another year.
Yeah. They keep saying he's lightened up a little bit, calmed down a little bit, but he still knows his football. He did lose almost every player that was on Mac Brown's team before. Yeah. So, I mean, not only does he have, 70, almost like what Deion did when he went to Colorado, yep. Although Deion picked those players. He brought most of them from Jacksonville State with him when he went. Just got to give him some time. They got players that, people are just getting to the point to where, they're getting used to playing with each other. And where the, practicing is restricted, you don't have time. So, yeah, the reason why I put that on there, I think now by next year, if it still sucks out loud like it has this year, yeah, you might want to consider buying him out and letting him retire.
Yeah, he's bringing in 70 new players, and North Carolina's best player went to the NFL, Omarion Hampton. So, you're starting completely fresh with everybody new. You got to give him time. I know it's, a new era but everybody's got to be. You still got to have continuity a little bit, even though you're going to get all the transfers. But got to give him some time. Maybe not give his girlfriend so much power the next season over there. I don't know, but hey, go Bill Belichick. One more year. I'm yelling with you on that one.
All right.
So my next one is actually we're sticking with the topic in college football of the last game that we talked about, Florida and Texas, and that is Billy Napier is not a really good head coach at all for Florida. But he keeps winning the big game just to keep him around. And he's kind of doing what Mark Stoops isn't doing for Kentucky, which I'm glad, because if Mark Stoops gets one big win, like over a Texas or Tennessee or something like that, he's saving his job. Billy Napier was on the way to getting fired after losing to South Florida and all these ranked teams that they've got ahead of them. And then they go and they beat Texas. Florida fans were wanting Billy Napier gone, but I believe he may have saved his job once again this year by winning at Texas. Gordon, you yelling with me here that Billy Napier is not an SEC head coach, but he's gonna save it.
From what I've seen, Billy Napier is not a Power 4 coach. I mean, I think he'd be better served in Division 1 AA or maybe Division 3. I think he'd be good down there. He can't. He's already proven. I mean, I don't think he's done much of shit in college football as far as wins, except for winning seasons. He's been bad.
Last year, he was on the brink of getting fired. and they come up to Kentucky and they just whoop Kentucky. I mean, beat them by 4 touchdowns, something like that. But he was on his way to getting fired. Then they kind of went on a little bit of a roll, made it into a bowl game last year, got like 7, 8 wins. And they thought, okay, well, Florida's like, we'll try it again. Then they go out and they lose to South Florida, which, all right, we're going to talk South Florida here after a while. South Florida's ranked. We get it and all that. But Florida shouldn't lose to South Florida at home. Or was that game at South Florida? I can't remember. Either way, if you're Florida, you shouldn't lose to an in-state school that's not Florida State or Miami, right?
All right.
I'm not crazy on that. And then you go out and you got this tough schedule. And right in the middle of it, you beat the team that was number 1 before the season started. I know they're not number 1 now, but number 1 Texas. And everybody's wanting Billy Napier gone. He wins that, and it's like, no, we're going to be stuck with this guy once more.
And he's like, well, I don't want to go look for a job. I got to win a big one.
Yeah.
It makes you guys want to keep me around.
And knowing him, they'll probably lose their next game and then come out and beat another top team and not win anymore and do just enough to keep his job once more. Like I said, that's the position that Mark Stoops would be in if he would win a game, but he's not. Mark Stoops isn't winning another game, so I'm glad he's not pulling a Billy Napier on us.
I think UK fans should revolt if Mark Stoops does win a big game, unless he starts running the table.
Yeah. If he goes, he beats Texas, he beats Tennessee, he beats Louisville, and Kentucky's bowl eligible. I'll be like, okay, we'll do it again next year, but I won't be thrilled about it. Oh man. So Gordon, your next yell or no yell topic.
We're going to the NFL. Ravens are just a shell without Lamar Jackson.
The Ravens are just a shell. I'm going to yell with you here. The Ravens are just a shell with Lamar Jackson. That defense needs some fixing fast. And I don't think just CJ is going to be the one just to fix that Ravens team. But, man, they are in a tailspin right now, and it doesn't look like it's going to get any better anytime soon.
Yeah, that's what I said. Now, with him, they could score points, and it made it interesting. Last week, we saw without him that they focused on Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry can't get going. So here, what they scored 10 points, and the second touchdown was it was like a garbage time towards the end of the game when Derrick Henry finally rushed for a touchdown. It was 44-3 until the last minute of the game.
Bad.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was suck out loud.
And even when Lamar was in there, Derrick Henry hadn't got going this year at all. Justice Hill has made more plays in a few games than what Derrick Henry has. They haven't been able to run the ball. Lamar is your leading rusher, which is fine. I mean, it's Lamar. But you also got King Henry back there, and he hasn't got a lot of carries either. Like they're talking like maybe he's trying to do a load management. What's the point of load management if you don't make it to the playoffs to begin with? What are you saving that load for, right? You got to ride the horse while you got it.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I'm with you there, Yale. They are a better team with Lamar, but I think that even with Lamar, I don't know if this team's got the defense to do anything at all. And you've got to get Derrick Henry going a little bit because Lamar doesn't have a whole lot of weapons out there. I mean, Zay Flowers, Mark Andrews, Bateman. I mean, do these guys really scare you when looking at the big picture?
Well, if he comes off the bench, Isaiah Likely is a very good receiving and blocking tight end both.
He's been hurt, so yeah. Once he comes back, it may be a different story for sure. But yeah, man, I'm with you on that.
All right.
And so that brings me to my last yell or no yell topic. Gordon's got one more after this, but the Cincinnati Bengals traded for the wrong quarterback this past week when they traded for Joe Flacco. I kind of went on a little rant last night during the podcast. I'll stay calm here today on that end of it. But Gordon, are you with me or against me here that they traded for the wrong?
This was actually going to be my fifth topic, but I knew you was going to bring it up, so that's why I just said 4. Actually, what I wrote down, Flacco to the Bengals, wrong move. And it is a wrong move. I mean, first thing you said to me is he's going to get killed behind that line. I know you didn't want it. You said been there, done that with Desmond Ridder, but at least he can move. He can run. And his confidence hasn't been completely shattered by the offensive line. Well, maybe it has. I don't know. I was just trying to give you something. I said Colin Kaepernick hadn't played in 9-10 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 9 years. I think he would have been better.
I think Desmond Ridder, the problem with Desmond Ridder, he's been on 4 teams in the last 2 years and sucked at each one of them. I mean, I get it. He's mobile, but he can't get the ball to those guys. He's proven that he can't do it. That's why I'm not a Desmond Ridder. I wasn't on that bandwagon. We all know who I want. I've mentioned it several times. I'll mention it again. I wanted Famous James. I know he's going to be able to get the ball to the guys. Now he's going to get the ball to the defenders on the other team too. But man, these 52-48 shootouts were going to be so much fun for the Bengals this year because I mean we would look like the Dallas Cowboys out there. No defense, all offense, fun to the end. You're going to put up all kinds of offense. You may actually squeak out a win or two here and there, but Joe Flacco is not mobile enough with that offensive line. You needed a mobile quarterback. No, people who were hollering for Russell Wilson to be traded to the Bengals. That wasn't the answer. Mr. Dirtball last night. No, nobody wanted Russell Wilson. I mean, there was a loud minority of Bengals fans that were wanting Russell Wilson. No, we didn't need that. There were some fans that was wanting Andy Dalton back. Been there, done that. Once again, we'll say that once again. Been there, done that on that. I don't think you're getting mobility out of Andy Dalton either. I don't know, man. I just feel like Joe Flacco, 40-year-old, you're kind of reaching here. You're kind of desperation to go out and get him within the division. And Cleveland's like, are you sure? You sure you guys want Joe Flacco? Is that who you're all wanting? I'm sure Cleveland was probably just as surprised as everybody else when they got the phone call for Joe Flacco.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what team he's on, but a guy that I think would have been good in that offense. I mean, it'd been kind of like Jameis sort of in a way. He's going to turn the ball over, but he's athletic and he can throw a deep ball. Trey Lance.
Yeah, you're right. Trey Lance would have been pretty good. I mean, he's mobile, and like you said, he could throw a deep ball. I would have took Trey Lance. He was with Los Angeles. He was with the Chargers. I don't know if he's still there or not, but I would have took Trey Lance for sure. I mean, definitely over. I mean, Flacco may prove me wrong. Flacco is going to, I mean, he's going to be able to get the ball to the guys. Will he have time? That's the problem. The problem is having time to throw to these guys. And when you've got to be on the run, that's a different story.
Yeah, because he ain't outrunning nobody.
No, not at this age. Not even when he was in his prime. He's not really outrunning anybody.
No.
But yeah, I really like that. I like the Trey Lance suggestion right there, too. I would have took Trey Lance. You wouldn't have give up much for Trey Lance either.
No. He's, third string? He might be back up.
He might be back up. Once again, Joe Flacco was the backup when he got traded. Kevin Stefanski doesn't know who the backup's going to be for Cleveland, which is a whole nother story in itself that we didn't get to last night on the podcast. Yeah, man, there was just better options there besides Flacco. Who you got? What do you got for your last yell or no yell topic?
Okay, we watched the game last night. Eagles need to get back to basics. Run, run, run. And then if all else fails, run some more.
Yell. I'm yelling with you on that too. Saquon's not banged up, really, not hurt or anything. They're not utilizing him like they did last year. I mean, they ran that horse into the ground last year, and it worked. Led him to a Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts, he would take off, and he would run the ball. Last night, he took off, scrambled a few times, and just kind of like ducked down like, I don't want to get hit. But what was all that about?
Well, the first two plays for Eagles, 2 runs by Saquon Barkley, 30 yards.
Yeah.
Like, boom, boom. And then he didn't come back in. They wanted to use A.J. Dillon, which every time someone touches his shin, he falls down.
Fumbled the ball, muffed a kick, all on the same. I mean, that was a part of the same drive right there for A.J. Dillon. But, yeah, you're right. And he didn't have – I don't remember how many yards he finished with last night, Saquon. It wasn't very many.
No.
But he got most of them on the first drive, like you said, first 2 plays. And then they abandoned it after that. I get you're wanting to involve A.J. Brown into this offense a little bit. I mean, so now, I don't know if you've seen today – they had a players-only meeting at the vehicle, right? In the parking lot.
Yeah.
A.J. Brown's now saying he doesn't recall having a meeting with Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley. It's like, what is going on in Philly? Like, what is going on here? How do you not remember if you had a meeting or not?
Maybe he's the way I look at it. If you're talking with friends by the car, that's not a meeting. I recall having a conversation, but I wouldn't call it a meeting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same thing every year with A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts. I don't think these guys like each other. I think they're tolerating each other here. But you may want to involve the rest of that offense and maybe your coordinators and stuff in on meetings next time because, like you said, get back to the basics and run the ball. Run it. You got Saquon. Let him go.
Oh, yeah. I mean, why not? It's kind of like, if you've got 2 cars and, one of them is brand new and it's a sports car, and the other one is a piece of crap that you can't depend on getting down to the end of the street. and you get in your car and decide, well, I think I'm going to drive the piece of shit over there.
Yeah, it's like you've got a, Porsche out here in the driveway, and you're like, no, you know what? I'm going to drive the Impala today once again. I'm just going to keep driving it. It may not get me to the stop sign at the top of the road there, but I'm going to ride it.
If I have to, I'll push this car up the hill.
And it's like, what is the point of that? But that's how it is. That's how the Eagles' offense is right now. But I can't say that I don't mind seeing the Eagles not doing so well. But I do like Saquon, though. I like Saquon pretty good.
He was my fantasy back last year.
Yeah, that was a good year for him to be a fantasy back. This year,
Yeah.
Maybe not so much.
Yeah, on ESPN, I had him and Josh Jacobs both.
Well, that will do it for our Yell or No Yell segment here. And Gordon, let's go ahead. Let's get into some picks this week.
All righty.
Let's start out with tonight. Number 24, South Florida Bulls travel to North Texas to face the North Texas Mean Green. North Texas is a 2.5-point favorite. Gordon, this is a intriguing group of 4 matchup here, group of 5 matchup. Who you like in this one? North Texas, I believe, is undefeated. Who you like here?
I've actually got this on a parlay. I've got South Florida winning. I can't tell you any of their players. I don't really follow them. But I do know that they did beat Florida. I know we just talked about how Billy Napier is not a very good coach. But you still but they played other teams tough too. And they played, big schools tough too, other than Florida. I got South Florida winning straight out.
Yeah, South Florida, their only loss was to Miami, and they got hammered by Miami, which Miami's really good. No shame in that. They beat down Boise State to begin the year. They beat Florida, and then the over-under in this game's intriguing. 66.5 points for an over-under is a lot in college football. I like it. I think that I'm with you here. I think South Florida comes in as the road dog, Jesse James, and they get that win over North Texas here. Give me the ranked South Florida Bulls to win it. But I think this is going to be a good, high-scoring game. It's going to be a fun watch tonight, a Friday night. So, good Friday night game right there.
Yeah, what'd you say the over was?
66.5.
I'm not sure it's going to get to 66, but it's going to be high scoring.
It's going to be high.
South Florida and North Texas may score 60 points each, but
that'd be great. I would love that. I mean, if you're betting player props on this one right here, that'd be great for you right there. If you got all that going on, but yeah, I think it's going to be a good game though. Our next matchup, we go to it right now, Gordon. Number 1 in the land, Ohio State travels to Champaign, Illinois to face number 17, Fighting Illini. Ohio State's a 14.5-point favorite. Gordon, how do you feel about Saturday's matchup on the road once again for the Buckeyes?
Well, for Illinois, after the Hoosier beatdown that they took, and it was bad, they kind of woke up a little bit last week. I got Ohio State winning, but something tells me they're not going to cover. It's going to stay within 14. This may be one time where they actually get tested for a little bit. I don't see them. Don't get me wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope it's more than 14 before the first quarter's over with. I just don't see it happening. Illinois' got good corners. They'll be able to cover Tate one-on-one, and this might have to be a Brandon Ennis game, the third wide receiver, because I think they're going to bracket Smith. They got a corner that could cover Carnell Tate. It's going to have to be Brandon Ennis and Lamar Bo Jackson.
Yeah, I'm disagreeing with you on this right here. I think that Ohio State wins this one, and they win it comfortably. Illinois, they couldn't put up much against Indiana's defense. What are they going to do against Ohio State's defense? The over-under is 50.5 in this one. Take the under. I think Ohio State wins by 3 touchdowns. Illinois is not going to get much going on. You don't have much to worry about offensively. This is probably Ohio State's toughest test so far, but it's not going to be much of a test. Ohio State wins it, and I think they win comfortably in this game. So give me the Buckeyes.
I try to keep my expectations at a minimum when it comes to this team so I don't get let down.
I totally understand, but I'm here to tell you, you're not going to sweat much tomorrow in that game right there. So Buckeyes win. Easily. If they do, you can come on this podcast, you can yell at me, and I'll be sorry about it, Gordon, but it's not going to happen. Ohio State's going to win easily. So our next matchup we go to, it's a top 25 matchup, a top 15 matchup. Number 8, Alabama Crimson Tide travel to Columbia, Missouri to face number 14, Missouri Tigers. Alabama is just a 2.5-point favorite on the road. Gordon, What do you think here? The tide's been rolling lately. Do they continue?
What I got wrote down here is I got Alabama winning, and they're going to cover. I know Missouri's got a good defense. Alabama's got a really good offense, and I think their defense is good. It's not Saban level Alabama defense, but then again, they would be undefeated if they was. I think they'll win by at least 10. Alabama's going to win by at least 10.
Alabama's offense has been going pretty good lately. They've got things going. Ty Simpson's looked pretty good. He's got Ryan Williams, Jeremy Bernard, Jam Miller, the running back. They're starting to get things going. They fell, a few weeks ago. They put it on Vandy a little bit last week. I mean, Diego Pavia lost that game for Vanderbilt. They would have won, but he made a few mistakes there. He talked all that stuff about they were going to blow out Alabama, and he couldn't back it up onto the field. You're going to talk about Alabama, you better back it up. You better not make a mistake in critical moments like he did. But that's a credit to Alabama, too. Kalen DeBoer's got this team turned back around since that loss to Florida State. The big key in this for Alabama is, can they stop Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy? He leads the SEC in rushing, the best running back in the SEC. He's had a really good year. He's got almost 800 yards rushing so far already. But that's really all Missouri's got. If they can stop him, they win this game. It's going to be a tough environment for them, but it's Alabama. They're used to tough environments. Give me Bama in this one. I'm with you here. I think Bama wins by about a touchdown, maybe 10 points. Bama covers. Our next matchup, another top 10 game. Number 7, or actually, I said another. This is the first top 10 matchup we've got here. The number 7, Indiana, travels to Eugene, Oregon to face the number 3 Oregon Ducks. Oregon is a 7.5-point favorite. Gordon, this has got some Big Ten implications here. What do you think here?
Well, because Oregon's at home, I've got Oregon winning, but Indiana covering. I think this is going to be like field goal at the end to take the win or to break a tie or something. If I had to pick, it's going to be between 1 and 5 points. It's going to be how much Oregon should win by. Indiana's got a very good offense. They obviously play defense pretty good. I got Oregon at home. I've seen Dan Lanning, how he is when he's at home. He likes to stretch the rules, not break them, just stretch them. Stretch that rule book. Yes, and I gotta say this: the receiver that would scare me the most going up against Indiana is that Surratt. He is a freaking freak. Watched a couple of plays on the highlights there, and some of the catches, it's almost Smith-esque. One hand behind his back and stuff, pulling his arm way back, coming back. So yeah, but give me Oregon to win, but barely.
So Indiana had a big win a couple of weeks ago. Indiana has a NFL prospect at quarterback. Francisco Mendoza has been a pretty good quarterback for Indiana so far this year. But like you said, he's got some receivers that help him out. Surratt has looked great. And then you've got Cooper, the other wide receiver for Indiana. Both those guys have over 400 yards so far this season. Oregon, on the other hand, they've got Moore. Dante Moore is a quarterback. He started at UCLA, and he's found his way up to Oregon. And then they got another Moore. I don't think they're related as a wide receiver. Maybe they are. I don't know. But he's been their best wide receiver. This is at home. This should be a good game right here. But I think Oregon wins, and I think that Indiana covers. I'm with you here. We'll really get a feel of how Indiana is on the road against a top 3 team. Can they pull off the upset? Yeah, they can pull off the upset. I think Indiana's got a really good coach. I think he's probably not going to be at Indiana too much longer. I don't think. I mean, maybe he will be, but some big team's going to be coming calling for him. But I like Oregon in this one, though. But I think Indiana covers. I'm with you, Gordon.
Yeah, not to change the subject or nothing, but that'd be a good place for a Dante Moore commercial in Oregon. Have Dante Moore open up a can of Dante Moore.
Yeah, and whatever the other Moore is, it's a wide receiver. There's all kinds of Moores over there. I don't think they're related. It's Dante Moore, and we'll bring it up here real quick. It's another D Moore. This is intriguing. Decorian Moore. So, yeah, he's a freshman. Yeah. And now, at this time, I would like to see where I'm going here with this. The next matchup, number 10, Georgia, travels to Auburn, Alabama to face the Auburn Tigers. They get me confused. It's the Auburn Tigers, but I want to say War Eagle. They're facing the Fighting War Eagles. Georgia's a 3.5-point favorite on the road at Auburn in this rivalry matchup. Who do you like?
Since Georgia was my preseason SEC champions, I guess I'm going to have to stay with them because if they lose another one, that's pretty much gone. I got Georgia. And not only just because of that, but by all rights, Georgia is the better team.
Yeah, I'm going with that too. Auburn has lost 2 games this year, and one was to Oklahoma, who was ranked, and the other was to Texas A&M, who's ranked. They played Texas A&M pretty close defensive matchup. I think they'll be able to hang with Georgia for a little bit, but I think overall Georgia's the better team. This is a rivalry game, so you never really know what's going to happen here. These two are some of the oldest rivals in the SEC. Of course, it's not Auburn, Alabama, but I mean these two teams hate each other as well. I like John Stockton's boy to come out and get it done. He's going to rush and pass on this defense a little bit. Give me Georgia to win this one, and I think Georgia ultimately covers, but it's going to be close for a while.
That's what I got. I got Georgia covering. It won't be by much, but if I had to guess, I'd say we'll just put a number on it.
7 sounds pretty good there. So before we get into our next pick, I'd like to take a moment to say this episode of Yelling from the Couch is brought to you by W Energy. If you're tired and feel like a preseason backup halfway through your day, it's time to get in the game with W, the clean energy drink made for gamers, athletes, and sports junkies like us. No sugar, no crash, no jitters, just pure focus, energy to get you through those late night film sessions, long editing days, or Sunday afternoon meltdowns when your team blows a 14-point lead, or Saturday afternoon meltdown. They've got flavors like Galaxy Grenade, Push and Punch, and Beach and Peach. And they also hit harder than a linebacker on 4th and goal. Go to w.gg and use promo code YELLING, that's YELLING, to get 10% off your order today. W Energy. Be better, be W. We go out west. Number 18, BYU, travels to Arizona to face Arizona Wildcats. Arizona's 4-1 this season. BYU's 5-0. BYU's a 2.5-point favorite. Gordon, what do we think out here for this Mountain West matchup? Or no, Big 12, sorry, Mountain West.
Well, BYU they was independent for a while. They're in the Big 12 now. I was not. Yeah. I just noticed that this year. I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, they're there in Arizona is too.
I got Zona winning. Underdog. They're at home. BYU's been on a good run, but they always have a letdown game sometime during the year, a game that they shouldn't lose. Technically, this is close. They probably shouldn't, but I think they're going to. Arizona plays good at home.
I think Arizona wins this game too. Like you said, BYU always has a letdown. Yes, my background is really blue, but this is Kentucky blue. It could be confused with BYU. You really can't see the Kentucky logo unless I come in, so it's not BYU, guys. So I'm not picking BYU in this one. I'm picking a Wildcats team, actually. So give me the Arizona Wildcats. The night slate, like I had to pick a couple of games from the night slate because the night slate's not really that great tomorrow night. But, yeah, but the early slate and the mid-afternoon slate's really good. The night slate's – but I got Arizona winning. Give me the Wildcats. And, of course, they cover because of the Dogs. And that leads to our last pick of the week this week, and that is another team from Arizona, the number 21 Arizona State Sun Devils. Travel to Utah to face the Utah Utes. Utah is an 8.5-point favorite at home. Gordon, what do we think here?
I may be wrong. This is the one I told you about last week. I don't pick against Arizona State if I'm asked. I got Arizona State winning. Every time I do, if I pick the game and I don't pick them, they embarrass the crap out of me. I mean, they win by a bunch. Yes, they won last week too, but yeah, I like Arizona State. They play a good solid brand of football, and Utah taught me a while back that their defense ain't quite what it used to be. Because I picked them to win because of their defense, and they actually got blown out.
Texas Tech.
Yes. So I'm taking Zona State to beat Utah, the Utes.
I don't know why Utah is a 8.5-point favorite. I know Arizona State lost to Mississippi State, which Mississippi State is better than they were in years past. They might not be as good, I mean, they might not be great or anything, but they're better than they were in years past. They're much improved. But Arizona State, there's a big difference between Arizona State this year and last year, and that is they're missing the running back that's playing in New York right now.
Right.
Cam Scatterboot. So that hurts them a little bit. That may be why they got blown or why they got beat at Mississippi State. I think if you got a running back like that, you're probably winning that game. Utah, on the other hand, they got blown out at home to Texas Tech. Texas Tech's good. I don't think Texas Tech's great or anything, but this should be a really good game in the Big 12, another Big 12 matchup that you don't think of when you think of these two teams right here. But I think Arizona State wins this game too. Big underdog win for Arizona State. Sam Leavitt, not been that great passing this year, but I think he has a pretty good one. Him and Tyson. Tyson, the receiver for Arizona State, I think is going to have a pretty big game. Give me the Road Dogs once again. And Gordon, I believe we picked the same on every pick this week. We
Never
deviated.
good.
I don't think we deviated at all.
I have but that's not the biggest upset I picked this week. I wrote down all the top 25 games because I didn't know which ones you was going to go with.
Yeah, what you got?
The biggest upset, Tennessee travels to Arkansas to play the Razorbacks. Tennessee's, okay, when I checked it, it was 12.5. It may be different now.
11.5 now.
11.5. I got Arkansas winning. They got rid of their coach. Now Bobby Petrino's their head coach. Mr. Offense, the guy that made Lamar Jackson who he is. I got Arkansas pulling off an upset to Tennessee.
Man, that would be big. I would like to see that. That would be great. I don't know. Man, I think Tennessee will win it. But Bobby Petrino, like you said, offense. He's been the offensive coordinator there, but now he's got his full paws on this whole team. The over-under for that game is 67.5.
They're expecting points. So you know Tennessee's putting them up.
If Taylor Green can get anything going, that'll be a good game right there.
Oh, yeah.
I think Bobby Petrino is a better coach than Sam Pittman was. I like the pick, but I just can't go with that on that one. I'm picking Tennessee to win, but I would love to see that upset. That would be awesome. That's one of those middle of the afternoon games that sit down and watch it. You're going to check out a whole lot of offensive firepower right there. That'll be a fun game to watch.
Oh, yeah. So that's what I said. No, I said Tennessee's going to score. It's not going to be a blowout, but they don't have to blow them out. They could just have to win by one because they're the underdogs.
Yeah, that's it. But that'll do it here for us on these picks. Gordon, you got anything else you want to add on the end of this episode here before we tie it up?
No, that's you didn't pick that game, so I just had to bring my underdog pick of the week in college football.
Anytime you're picking against Tennessee, I'm for it. You bring it up anytime. Well, that'll do it for us here. Like this video, subscribe to us. Thanks for everybody who's subscribing. Check us out. If you can't watch us here on YouTube, check us on Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcasts. And we will see you all next week. Later.